Welcome to episode 7 of Twisted Tales, a channel that focuses on the paranormal, supernatural, and downright sketchy stuff in the world around us. Today we bring you Bhangarh Fort. So sit back, enjoy and subscribe, but above all, don't fall asleep. The Bhangarh Fort is a 16th century fort built in the Rajasthan state of India. The town was established during the rule of Bhagwant Das as the residence of his second son, Madho Singh, during the 16th century. The fort and its precincts are well preserved and is located on the border of the Sariska Reserve in the Aravalli range of hills in Alwar district of Rajasthan. The nearest village is Gola Ka Bas, with the fort is situated at the foot of the hills on sloping terrain. The ruins of the king's palace are located on the lower slope of the hills. Trees surround the pond area and a natural stream falls into the pond within the premises of the palace. The haunted Bhangarh Fort is situated in the middle of nowhere and surrounded by forest. There is no big town or railway station near the fort. The nearest railway station is in DUSA, which is 30 kilometers from Bhangarh and 280 kilometers from Delhi. There are direct trains between DUSA and Delhi. Rajasthan Roadways also run buses from Delhi to DUSA. Entering through the main gate of the completely ruined fort city, one can find temples, palaces, and havelis. In addition, there are 4 more points of entry to the fort: the Lahori Gate, the Ajmeri Gate, the Fulbari Gate, and the Delhi Gate. At the entrance of the main gate are many Hindu temples, such as Hanuman Temple, Gopinath Temple, Someshwar Temple, Keshav Rai Temple, Mangala Devi Temple, Ganesh Temple, and Naveen Temple. The temples, dedicated to Hanuman and Shiv Mahadev, are built in the style of cenotaphs rather than temples. Jari marble has been used in their construction, and a Muslim tomb, found outside the gate of the fort, is reported to be that of one of the sons of King Hari Singh, the Maharaja of Jammu and Kashmir. Bhangarh Fort is known as the most haunted place in India, and perhaps the greatest unsolved mystery. There is no doubting the fact that anything associated with the supernatural attracts a huge amount of attention, and the deserted city of Bhangarh cashes in on that very idea. The many haunted stories of Bhangarh Fort have transformed it into a bucket list destination of sorts. According to legend, a sadhu, this being a religious ascetic, mendicant, or any holy person in Hinduism and Jainism who has renounced a worldly life, lived within the fort area, and according to his injunction, any house built in the precinct of the fort should not be taller than his own, and if the shadow of any such house fell on his house, it would result in destruction of the fort town. When columns were added to the fort that cast a shadow on the sadhu's house, the result was destruction of the fort and surrounding towns. Curious travelers come in order to experience cheap thrills, and while some go back disappointed, others simply cannot have enough of the suspense associated with the story of the Bhangarh Fort. If you happen to be one of those inquisitive travelers, it is imperative for you to visit this place and find out for yourself. Most people are of the belief that Bhangarh Fort is haunted, and there is no limit of tales that help in amplifying the mystery that is Bhangarh. Venturing into the fort after sunset is nothing short of an act of bravery, as it is supposed to be a center for paranormal activity, and the Archaeological Survey of India therefore has prohibited people from visiting the Bhangarh Fort at night. Of the many Bhangarh stories that the locals like to indulge in, the most popular is that of Emperor Madho Singh, who built the city after attaining the approval of Guru Balu Nath, an ascetic who used to meditate there. The saint gave his approval on the condition that the shadow of the emperor's palace should never fall on his retreat. If in case it did, the city would crumble into ruins. Once the construction was completed, the retreat of Guru Balu was unfortunately shadowed by the palace. Having incurred the saint's wrath, Bhangarh immediately transformed into a cursed city and could never be rebuilt, as no structures ever managed to survive in it. It is interesting to note that the tomb of Guru Balu Nath can still be found among the ruins. Another Bhangarh Fort story pertains to Princess Ratnavati. According to legends, her beauty was nonpareil in all of Rajasthan, and stories of her surpassing physical attractiveness even transcended kingdoms and borders. When she turned 18, suitors from several states asked for her hand in marriage. Of all these suitors was a sorcerer named Singya, who was aware of the fact that he was no match for the princess. However, he decided to entice her with the magical powers he possessed. He was lucky enough to see Princess Ratnavati's mistress in the market, and enchanted the oil she was purchasing with black magic. He was of the hope that the princess would surrender herself to him upon touching the oil. However, his attempt was futile as Ratnavati witnessed his trick and poured the oil on the ground, which then morphed into a rock, rolled towards the magician, and crushed him. Before dying, Singya cursed the city of Bhangarh to death, and as a result, it never witnessed any rebirths. Moreover, in the battle between Ajabgarh and Bhangarh, Princess Ratnavati was killed, thus adding more weight to his malediction. Hopes, however, never die, as several locals are of the belief that she has returned in a different form and will ultimately come back to end the unfortunate spell on Bhangarh. Although there is no proof of whether these and other such Bhangarh Fort incidents are true or not, the element of strange mystery that these Bhangarh Fort haunted experiences impart to this architecture are indeed no less than magic. Some locals feel that one spirit that haunts the area is that of the magician Singya, and will rid itself of it only once the princess returns to the palace. While Bhangarh Fort's story has been rubbished by scientists, nothing stops the villagers from believing that it is a sanctuary for ghosts. People have supposedly often heard noises that are unaccounted for. The locals claim to have heard women screaming and crying, bangles breaking, and strange music emerging from the fort. There have been instances where a special perfume was emanating from the Bhangarh Fort, along with ghostly shadows and inexplicable lights. Some people have felt a strange sensation of being followed, and even slapped by an invisible entity. It is believed that if a person enters the fort after sunset, they will never, ever come out of it. The doors are therefore always locked after dusk, and entry into the Bhangarh Fort at night is absolutely forbidden. Are all of the Bhangarh Fort stories factual or just strange pieces of fiction? Is the Bhangarh Fort really haunted? Nobody can say, but that doesn't stop ghost hunters from trying. India is a mystical country, with its numerous forts, forests, and historical sites wrapped in its own unique enigma, with stories and Bhangarh incidents making up the unique tales of this fort. One of the Bhangarh Fort incidents is that of two young boys who decided to spend a night in the fort, but never returned home. Similar to this tragic incident, another boy decided to visit the fort during the night with lighting equipment, but fell in a steep well located in the middle of the fort. Although he was rescued immediately by his friends while he was being rushed to the hospital, the car got crushed in an accident and all three died on the spot. According to yet another one of the Bhangarh Fort haunted experiences, it is said that a troop of few youngsters who went to explore the place met with eerie incidents while they were returning from the place. It is said that in a bus of around 50 people, while this group was sitting on 5th or 6th seats, only they got gravely injured. Another urban legend claims that group of tourists once bribed the keeper of the fort to let them inside the complex of the Bhangarh Fort after nightfall. The keeper let them in, with a stern warning that it wasn't advisable to go inside the fort at that time. In spite of the warnings, the group ventured into the realms of the fort, where they noticed a boy sitting alone inside one of the rooms. The creepy part was that there were no accessible doors or windows in the room. Other mysteries in Bhangarh include the vanishing villagers of Bhangarh village. According to local legends, the village once flourished with a vibrant community, but it is said that one day, all the residents mysteriously disappeared, leaving behind empty houses and a haunting silence. Speculations range from paranormal phenomena to mass migration, but the truth remains elusive. Sacred rituals are also known to have been practiced and passed down through generations. From mystic ceremonies performed by local shamans to mystical symbols and talismans believed to ward off evil spirits, the village is steeped in a rich tapestry of folklore and traditional beliefs. These rituals add an aura of mysticism and intrigue to the already enigmatic atmosphere of Bhangarh. There is, however, a brighter side to Bhangarh. The fort is situated at the edge of a lusciously green expanse of Sariska Tiger Reserve between Alwar and Jaipur, and is not very far away from Delhi either. The fort was clearly modeled upon the medieval city of Shahjahanabad, with 4 massive wooden gates in every direction. The precincts of the fort have ornately carved a miniature waterfall and temples which lend an air of tranquility to the place during the better part of the day. The remnants of some palaces within the fort are clear indicators of the fort's prosperity during its heyday. The fort would have been a tourist hotspot for its serene atmosphere during the day and the architectural marvel that the fort is, and as a matter of fact, it is. It is a tourist attraction, and it does attract hordes of tourists during the day, but for all the wrong reasons. Although it is hard to judge paranormal activities when the government tells you to stay away from certain places, then there is something that's not right. Bhangarh Fort is one such place. The stories and legends along with the freaky coincidences mark Bhangarh Fort and the surrounding village a truly terrifying experience, but more importantly, when government intervention strictly prohibits a location to stay open after sunset, it may not be right, but it's definitely special. Thank you for watching episode 7 of Twisted Tales. Subscribe for plenty more to come. See you soon.